One of the most overwhelming things in Auschwitz, the need to live. Once I decided to live, I was going to do anything and everything to survive. And I must emphasize the fact that when people ask me, how did I know? I tell them very simply, if you put your hand in a boiling pot of water, you are going to pull it out. How on earth do you know to pull it out? Your instincts tell you that this is dangerous. That is the way I did everything, by instinct. And I somehow, my instincts were right in telling me what I could do and I couldn't. So organizing food, but I found out very, very fast that the food we got was not enough to maintain life. The only edible food that kept us going was the 2.5-inch slice of dark bread. And after a while, I realized that some of the children were organizing, which in camp language we all knew meant stealing from the Nazis. And the one thing that everybody wanted to organize was potatoes, raw potatoes from the kitchen. They seemed to be the panacea. And then at night, we would put it in a cup with water, no salt or anything, and after the supervisors went to sleep, we would boil it in the oven in the back, because the barrack had 2 ovens, one in the front and one in the back, where we would get charcoal and start a fire. But by the time I became an organizer, it wasn't at the beginning because I didn't know how. And it seemed very dangerous, and it happened after I got back from the hospital, because then Miriam was so weak and so sick that she seemed like she has given up the struggle for her own life, and that was very dangerous. Dying in Auschwitz was the easiest thing in the world. Living took up every ounce of energy that I had, and it was true for all the others as well. And so when I saw that she was almost giving up on life, I had to go and volunteer and had to be picked to carry food from the kitchen to the barrack. The food was carried in 30-gallon metal containers. Now, the black liquid that we got as coffee was it was heavy, but I wasn't really excited about that. So when I entered the kitchen, there were 3 or 4 pots filled all with that gooey white stuff that we would get at noon, which looked like cream of wheat, but was not really possible to swallow, or was the black liquid. And only on Sunday or some unique holidays we would get soup that was a lot of water. There were some turnips, maybe a few peas. There might have been a lot of rocks, which you just throw it away, and worms, quite a few worms. Well, we would throw out the worms and the rock and consume the rest of it, but that was supposedly a treat, and you couldn't always count on it. So when I got in the kitchen, I was looking to see if there were any potatoes. And under one of the tables, there were 2 sacks of potatoes. I hesitated for a moment because the rumor was, of course, that if I was caught stealing, I would be hanged. And I have witnessed hangings. And so for a moment I hesitated, but then I knew if I did not bend down, Miriam would die. So I remember feeling in my hand 2 potatoes when somebody grabbed me by my hair and pulled me up and yelled into my face, "It's not nice to steal." I almost burst into laughter because I realized that I was not going to be dragged to the gallows and hanged. This is when I learned that to be a Mengele twin meant that as long as Mengele wanted us alive, no one dared harm us. So next day I came back without any fear, and I became the happy owner of 3 raw potatoes, which we boiled at night. And from there on, I could organize potatoes 3 and maybe even 4 times a week, and the steady diet of potatoes gave Miriam enough strength to fight for her own life.